In this video I will show you how to add subscriptions to Android and iOS Expo apps using RevenueCat. Everything I show in the code will also be available in the GitHub repository. The implementation is not that hard, so let's go step by step. Prerequisites for using RevenueCat before you start coding are existing Apple developer account and Google Play developer account, depending if you are releasing it on Play Store or App Store or both. Your app is registered in both App Store Connect and Google Play console, again depending where your app is published, and that you have created and configured in-app subscriptions in both stores, which includes localized pricing, durations and trial options. And the last thing, you will sign up for RevenueCat account. The free plan is more than enough to get started. RevenueCat only takes a small percentage once your app starts generating revenue, which I think is a fair trade-off for what it offers. This is how RevenueCat dashboard looks like, and I'll first walk you through the terms of the product catalog. You might be wondering what the Entitlements products and offerings mean, and if you skim on each page, RevenueCat explains it pretty well. But I will also explain it, why not, and I will visualize it. Products are what your user buys. You created products in the Play Store and App Store, those are the subscription plans, and if you link the stores to the RevenueCat project, you can just import them. Entitlement is a level of access. It is what your app unlocks, and I usually see apps have a single entitlement. For example, entitlement could be access to all features, and last, offerings are just a collection of products. This is what the user sees. It makes sense maybe to have multiple offerings if you were, for example, A/B testing different offerings. Order of configuring a RevenueCat project would be first to link the stores, then import the products, create an entitlement and attach all of the products, and last, create, for example, one offering, and that offering will contain packages where you link your products. To link to Google Play Store, go to Google Cloud Console, select your project, select APIs and services, and find Google Play Android Developer API. Enable it. Same goes for Google Cloud Pub Sub API and Google Play Developer Reporting API. Go to API credentials and create a new service account. Name it, I don't know, RevenueCat. For all you need the monitoring viewer and Pub Sub editor. Click done. Copy this service account email and go to Play Console Users and Permissions and invite user, and he will automatically be invited. When adding permissions to the RevenueCat service account, you need to view app information, everything from the financial data, and that's it. Back to credentials in the Cloud Console, click the email of the RevenueCat service account, keys, create a new key, it will be a JSON, create it, save it, copy the contents into RevenueCat. Here you will fill your Google Play package. For the Play Store Financial Reports bucket ID, this will be created later. You need the function in service account. When the service account credentials is okay, here you will get your topic ID that you need to copy. If you don't get it, you will get the button connect to Google, and then RevenueCat will create a new topic ID. You will copy it, go to Play Developer Console, go to Monetize with Play, monetization setup, and you will click to enable real-time notifications, and here you will paste the topic ID. This is an optional step and it enables real-time purchase reporting. When you're done with the setup of the Android part, you will copy the public API key and you will need it for the configuration of RevenueCat in the code. To link to App Store Connect, select your app information and go to Manage, generate a new app-specific share secret and copy it in RevenueCat set secret. This is needed for validating receipts. You will also need to add in-app purchase key for correct recording of the transactions, and go to App Store Connect, Users and Access, Integrations, In-app Purchase, click to add a new purchase key, generate, download it, copy the key ID, you will also need the issuer ID, into RevenueCat over here. While you are in the users and access, click to App Store Connect API, click to create a new key, add app manager, generate, again download that key, copy it over here. It makes it easier to import the products into RevenueCat instead of you manually adding the products from the App Store Connect. If you will be asked for the vendor ID, it can be found in the reports and copy the vendor number. When your app is set, scroll down to Apple's server-to-server notification settings and you can either copy this and go to App Store Connect app information, scroll down and set up the URLs over here, or you should be offered a button to connect to App Store Connect that you will click and the RevenueCat will automatically set it. If you don't see it, you messed up something in the previous steps. And one feature that I really like in RevenueCat is their Paywall Screen UI Builder. You can start from scratch or use one of their predefined templates. Cool thing is that once your app is approved, you can dynamically change the paywall, publish the changes, and you don't need to go through the review process. While I'm at the paywall, take for example this one, there are some elements that the paywall screen needs to have for your app to pass the review process. Most important are terms of service and privacy policy. Links need to be not broken, clickable, and while we're at Apple reviewers, they are more strict. So the terms and the privacy need to be exact links that you provided in the App Store Connect. Privacy, you can find it in your app, select type privacy and set the privacy policy URL. And the terms of service is under app information, license agreement, and by default, your app is under Apple's standard license agreement, and then your terms need to be those. You can set the custom terms of service, but it must meet the Apple's minimum terms. Next, your paywall should contain the Restore Purchases button. And what is also important, clear pricing information and duration of the subscription should be in the paywall. For example, I didn't pass the review the first time because these letters were too little. You could either increase the font or you could try explaining to the reviewer. I explained to the reviewer and the review passed. But something to watch out for, besides pricing, you should state what features does the user unlock, and then when you publish the paywall, you will need the offering ID to load it in your app. And the last part is the code part. To use RevenueCat in your project, install the React Native purchases, and for the paywall, also UI. For the paywall, create a new screen that is called subscribe. It's just a page and it installs the paywall that you created. Here there will be an offering ID and it will be kept in the environment variables, and you will handle the callbacks on purchase completed, restore error, completed, and on dismiss. But what we must first do is configure RevenueCat. Let's call it, keep it like this. And the function name is configure RevenueCat, and it calls the purchases configure API key, app user ID, and entitlement verification mode. Mode information can be useful if you want to handle verification failures and handle some warnings or errors, display them to the user or whatever. Purchases comes from React Native purchases. What about the API key? The API key will depend on your platform. Different is Android and different is iOS. We went through the connecting the Play Store and App Store to RevenueCat. So if you go to RevenueCat, scroll down the RevenueCat iOS or Android public API key, copy that into the environment variable. And let's call it API key Android and iOS. App user ID can be passed or not. If you get the app user ID later, I will show you how to reassign it. And it is very useful while developing to set the log level to debug, because you will probably be dealing with some of the RevenueCat purchase errors. To initialize RevenueCat, RevenueCat. I will create a provider called RC because I'm bad with naming, and in the context I will add customer info is subscriber, set customer info, and what else is configured. And I'll create an RC provider that has the customer info is configured, and I will call here the configure RevenueCat, and app user ID for now is an empty string, but I will change it later. And this is nothing operation, and I want to make sure that it's not triggered multiple times for some reason. If it's triggered, I don't want to trigger it again. And to check if it is a subscriber, when you get the customer info, you can check under entitlements, your active entitlements. It might not be a pro, your entitlement might be something else. And then you can toggle if you want to show the subscribe screen when your if subscriber is true. I want to create a small hook that uses this context, and I want to throw an error if the context is called outside of the provider. Now I need to wrap the layout, and now I can actually do something with the callbacks on the subscribe page. If he's subscriber, I don't want to show him the Paywall screen. I will return the redirect to landing page. Otherwise, I will handle a RevenueCat callback. So on purchase completed, I want to set the customer info and push to landing page. If it's error, I just want to console log the error. If restore completed, I want to do the same logic I did on purchase completed. So let's extract this into a function. I called it handle customer, and it accepts the customer info, and I can just call it the same logic here. On dismiss, I'll just add a small routing logic, go back or go to landing page, and this should be enough. In the layout, I added the wrapper for the provider, and one more thing, in index page I also want to use RevenueCat, and then maybe show text you're subscribed, else show the button to subscribe. If you want to link the purchase to the logged in user, but you don't know when the session will be open, you can log in with RevenueCat, and since I'm using Firebase, maybe I can do it here. So this is the callback by Firebase that gets triggered with the user session. If the user doesn't have a session, then instead of the user instance you will get a null. And if there's a session, I can also log in to RevenueCat purchases and link the purchase to the Firebase user ID. I also need the RC context. I need it to set the customer info. If I did everything correctly, now I should be able to see and test the app. There is no successful demo, sorry. To show you a real demo, this demo app should be registered in the store, subscription plan created in the store, published app to the closed test track with billing enabled and so on. But this code is similar code that I use for my app, and I will share it in GitHub. If you happen to see an issue, report back to comments or open a new GitHub issue, and thank you for watching this video.